All right, welcome back everybody. Anybody that's new here, thanks for joining me today. We're gonna do something real quick. I'm gonna challenge myself for an hour here. I got a little bit of time today. I'm gonna go and try and see if I can find some open water crappie. There should be some fish moving around because it's a warm day, but I don't know because it literally just like ice just started leaving where I want to go fish. So it could be still too cold, but I could get really lucky. I'm just going to take my Tuned Up Customs, that's my Apex, that's my panfish rod. It's got a bobber on it right now, but I'm going to probably throw either a Kalen's grub, they have like a crappie scrub, or I will try to get, I have a little jerk bait that I like to throw this time of year, just because if you get a good twitch right in front of a crappie, even if it's really cold, when it twitches and it stalls, they like to sit there and stare at it for a second, and then they'll just eat it. So I have those two options. So I'm not going to take a bunch of stuff with me, but I'm going to do that and give it a shot. So hopefully if you're seeing this, I found some crappie.
Okay, too early for the crappie scrub. That means I gotta go to a bobber. Okay, give what I was using last ice a try. See if they'll eat the plastic. I didn't bring any live bait. It's so hard to cast this light setup. There we go. Yep. It's one little guy. But it's a crappie and he ate it. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I'm going to drop these guys on this side so they don't spook the other ones. I'm not keeping anything today. I didn't even realize I had them on. Started reeling them in. A bunch of little males down there. They're right tight to the structure. Got a fish like on the pier. The little guy. I can see there's bigger ones down there. Curiosity's got me. Let's see if I can whip this thing down there without any bobber weight. to do. Let's get rid of that bobber. That's crazy. Nothing big, but figured something out. Just goes to show a bobber can screw up a bite. So don't forget that. Okay. Put a little rosy red mimic on. We'll see if they'll bite that. It actually worked. There you go, baby. If you guys are only just giants. I forgot who makes this. I think it was like a lake hopping bait. I don't know if they're still around, but definitely works. Well, but I think I got something figured out here. Yep, I can see that. Well, they're getting bigger. So when this is twitching around down there, they're really like that. Ah, these guys eat minnows too. That's a good one.
Alright guys, so back at home, and actually it's the other day, the next day, well, might have been a couple days, I can't remember right now, but so I wanted to go over a couple things real quick with you guys, and I was just thinking about it. So I don't know if you guys can see that. I didn't get a chance to really talk to you guys much because it was so windy, but that little guy was the deal. So I had a, let's see if we could focus on that enough. I mean, you guys can get the gist of it. So basically like a little rosy red, and it's on a tiny little, I think that's the mayfly jig that I had for ice fishing. And the thing was, is I did, and then I was fishing with like a really, really light slip bobber, like as light as you can get them. The problem was, at first they were eating the bug, so I had like a little mayfly thing. I'll link that stuff below for you because it does work really good in the spring. Any kind of bug stuff, especially mayflies and all that stuff that comes up early spring, panfish feed on them heavy. But they do eat those tiny little minnows too. The thing was, is where I was fishing, there was a ton of minnows around, and I didn't think they would actually touch any of those. I was wrong. I discovered that that little rosy red looking 1-inch minnow turned out to be a good one. I'm sure you could use just about anything as long as it's a tiny little minnow, and like when you jerk it around. The whole thing was, is I discovered that twitching the bobber with that little red minnow underneath there, getting the minnow to dart up and down in place and then settle at a level horizontal thing, the crappie would come up underneath it and eat it. I didn't get any big crappie today, and I'm gonna guess that's because they still haven't even really all moved into the shallower areas yet, and that usually takes a couple of, like, usually got like 1 or 2 really warm weeks, and then that'll happen. What those fish were doing where I was at is they move in and out every single time it gets super sunny out. So like, if just a tip for you guys, I want to help so you guys can do better this spring, is look for places with like those were floating piers I was by, but anywhere that has like a black pier or a dark pier or like a large surface area on a pier that can absorb sunlight and heat up, because when that heats up the water around it, it might be 44 degrees, you know, 20, 30 feet in any direction from the pier or structure or whatever you're fishing. But right next to it might be 47 degrees. And that really makes a big difference with crappie. They're kind of finicky little buggers. Those fish probably aren't even there today because it's been cold and cloudy. So that's how random it is. So choose your days wisely. I mean, obviously, if you can only get out when you can, take advantage of the fact that some structure might hold heat longer than others. You got to kind of do the math. I'm going to try and do a little bit more explaining this year so that you guys can understand why I'm doing what I'm doing, because it's kind of all instinctual. I just do it. But yeah, the big thing that I figured out, which I wish I would have figured out before I had to leave so soon, was the minnow on the bobber only came to light when I put just the minnow on and was trying to cast it and like jerk it in, because it's a jerk minnow. It's meant to dart around and stuff. They would look at it, but they just wouldn't chase it down because they're too cold. So by putting it on the ultralight bobber and just moving it slightly so that the minnow is darting around but then settling and staying in one spot, what it does is it gives them the idea that the minnow is dying. You know, it's fighting for its last breath type thing. So then the crappie know that they don't have to work very hard. So they can come up underneath it, stare at it for a while, and then when they get done, you know, making that decision, if you twitch it again and then let it settle, they usually go, okay, that's it, I gotta grab it, and then they come up and eat it. So quick tips with Dave for the end of this one, but I wanted to just, because it was such a quick little video and I knew it wasn't going to be very long, it's just a bunch of short little crappie, and then I got one big pumpkin seed, which those guys usually don't even come around until you got to have like 3-4 weeks of really warm water, and the temps have to be in like the low 50s, low to mid 50s to even have pumpkin seeds, because they're the first ones to spawn. Then it's crappie, then it's bluegill. It's kind of a weird mix. All panfish are different, just so you guys know. They're not all very easy to catch, and that's why I love chasing them, because they all have their own little thing. I think I'm going to actually try and go out and see if I can find some jerkbait crappie today, just because I might get lucky and they might be staging, because it's, you know, it was warm out, and if they're staging, they'll eat jerkbaits. So stay tuned for that video. Hopefully I get out and do it. I still have to edit this one, but hopefully, like I said before, you guys learn something. I help you guys out a little bit. It's officially open water season, so let's go on some adventures, and comment below if you guys got any recommendations as far as places you want me to go to. I have some good ideas, and I have some exciting ways of filming them, so like I said, stay tuned for those videos. But obviously, if you're not new here, you know what's up. But if you are new, could you please just remember to